Today we're off to Poland and an immense forest. Forests as natural environments have to be protected. And now people understand that cutting down the trees also cuts down on the chances for animals to survive, and the giant mammal that we're going to meet today was almost extinct in Europe. Yeah, it's true. When you say bison, well, you think of Buffalo Bill and the Wild West, all the same. Let me introduce the buffalo's cousin, the European bison. First, let's see what makes them different. At first glance, nothing. Well, if you want to get fussy, their hooves are different, and the European bison isn't as hairy as his American cousin. And he doesn't speak a word of English, and that's about it. Otherwise, they're like two peas in a pod. They have the same horns. They curve inward. They weigh almost a ton, and both of them were almost wiped out. For a long, long time, bisons were everywhere in Europe, but they were so overhunted at the beginning of the century that the last wild bison disappeared, and, well, there were only bisons in zoos. Some of them were released back into the wild, and today, well, bisons are readapting to life in the Polish forests where they're protected. Bisons live together in herds, which explains why from time to time you may have a little trouble finding your own mom. Little bisons reach maturity at around 4 years, but for now, they have only one concern: milk. They have a one-track mind. The bison is a ruminant. That means they chew cuds like cows, but don't say anything about cows because it annoys them. So they eat grass, and when there isn't any, as in winter, they'll settle for tree bark and shoots, and to drink they break the ice with their hooves or just eat some snow. And it's not so bad. Anyway, the owl is impressed. Finally, despite its reputation, the bison is a very peaceful fellow. He would rather quietly munch snowballs than run around and scare everybody. The fact is, what gives him his frightening appearance and makes him look unfriendly is the hump on his back, right on his neck. But that hump is very useful. That is where he has all the muscles that he uses to keep his big head up. No offense, but our friend the bison does have a big head. But wait a minute. Don't think that a bison can't give you trouble. He can, and he can get pretty annoyed. As soon as he senses danger, especially from humans, he might charge, and believe me, he is nothing like a cow or a bull when he does that. You know, a bison really wants just one thing: to be left alone in the forest in Poland. Oh yes, and one other thing. Nobody says the word cow in his presence.